that you see here. Both of these telescopes have what's called H-alpha or hydrogen alpha filters attached to them, and that allows us to see a certain region of the sun. We're imaging what's called the chromosphere of the sun, which are it's the region of ionized hydrogen. Both of these telescopes have what's called H-alpha or hydrogen alpha filters attached to them, and that allows us to see a certain region of the sun in the sky. We're imaging what's called the chromosphere.
Test, test, 1, 2. All right, there we go.
Being my 5th solar eclipse.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
So, and you never get tired of what you see?
No, each time is a unique experience, not just because of the weather, but it's because of the location, how the people around in that location perceive the eclipse and how they anticipate it, how everyone gets excited, connecting with the communities. So I've witnessed 2 eclipses in Chile and 2 in the United States.
And being here in Iceland, in Snæfellsnes, with the glacier right next to you, isn't there something about the energy here?
Absolutely. I feel a very kind of like ancient and primordial energy attached to it. And I just love a lot of people I've talked to don't want to get too excited because they don't trust the weather. They know that maybe astronomy viewing isn't going to cooperate, but I assure them that even if there are clouds, you're going to see an amazing light show when the eclipse happens. So just be prepared and just be open to anything that you might experience during the eclipse.
Og hér á Hvalsnesi á Reykjanesskaga, hér hefur komið mörg hundruð erlendir og innlendir ferðamenn í dag. Magnea Tómasdóttir, vert á kaffi gólu, hvernig hefur dagurinn gengið fyrir sig?
Bara vel, sko. Það er nú smá rigningaskúr núna, en við hefum ekkert haft mikla rigningu í dag og við hérna á Hvalsnesi erum alveg vön verra veðri en akkurat þetta, þó þetta sé ekki alveg ídeal svona almyrkva veðrið. En við erum að taka á móti, það komið 400 manns allavega, eitthvað svo leiðis og alltaf að bæta.
Okay, let me know if you can hear now that live stream that I have on. I did just turn it off for you guys. This one right here. Let me know if you can hear it. I've muted it. I can hear it on my end, even if it's muted on your end. So it should be just me that you're hearing right now. See, normally I stream through StreamYard, but I can't transmit sound from something through StreamYard. And with this, I kind of want to have that. So I'm not able to, good. I'm not able to basically relay. Yeah, I need to change my mic compared to the desktop audio. Maybe that'll be better. Test, 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 test. Test, test, 1, 2. Test, test, 1, 2. It is a little weak, isn't it? I'll turn up the gain on my, okay, cool. So hello and welcome everyone. We'll be getting, I started a little early. We'll be getting into it, don't worry. But just kind of want to just get started a little early. I already have the gain set to 5. I want to turn up more. Okay. Wow, someone's hearing me all the way from Texas. That's incredible. I mean, it's so far away. Like, I don't have that booming of a voice. Whoa. Let's see what happens if I do this. Let's just put a plus 4 on. Test. Yeah, it looks a little better. Maybe actually. Test. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that should be a little better. Dan, glad you're here. Thanks for being here. Yeah, I need to comb my hair. I just literally just made my coffee, had a bagel. I'm jumping into it's kind of cold, but that's fine because we're going to have fun. So let me put back on this broadcast. Well, let's at least see if it's still in Icelandic there in English for a little bit. That was cool. But this is from Iceland. I was almost going to go to this event. I almost decided to go, but I did not. So let's see if they're talking...
verður stórkostleg og allt það sko. En ég þrái bara svo mikið að sjá þarna í þessa átt kórunu sólarinnar blasa við. En ég var bara að bíða
You should hear me now.
Kannski
And you should hear
sérstaklega
them.
sko í ljósi þess hvernig veðrið var í gær og í fyrradag og það allir konur í gír og allir konur með glerugu og ekki það er fólk annars staðar á landinu sem býr við betra aðstæðum við akkurat núna.
Ef það sér eitthvað þá náttúrulega samgleðst ég þeim mjög. Þessi dýrð engu lík og það bara, eins og ég segi, mjög sorglegt að við fáum ekki að sjá það líklegast en við bara bindum vonir við það létti að minnst einhvers til eitthvað aðeins á eftir. Ég ætla að vona að það verði kraftaverk. Þarna á Látrabjargi til dæmis bara, þetta fullkomið bara. Ef þú sérð í sólina þá erum við kátt. Og við þurfum bara göti skýin.
En sko
Test 1, 2, 3,
langaði svona að vera í
test 1,
Reykjavík
2, 3. I'm not going to typically talk over them,
og
but
ég
just
hefði eiginlega haldið að þú væri bara tilbúin
I want to make sure the volume is good, so if I do speak, you can hear me better than you can hear the broadcast. And right now with my audio levels, it looks like you should be able to hear me a little bit better than the live stream, though of course it's going to be chaotic. So let me know about that too.
Og svo vildi ég bara fá að njóta þess með fjölskyldunni heima og veðja á það yrði gott veður en það
And I wear this shirt because it's so bloody hot. This is the only thing I can wear that's professional and keeps me cool without sweating through like a pig.
Og ég ætla bara að varpa því til allra Íslendinga núna sem missa af sjónarspilinu sjálfu að ef þú eru á þeim slóðum, síðasta Spáni, nálægt Malaga og Gibraltar, 2. ágúst næsta ári, eru velkomin að koma með og fylgjast með almyrkva og sólu í 430 sekúndur þar.
En þú sagðir að þið langaði náttúrulega að vekja þjóðina og það hefur heldur betur tekist því að fólk bíður spennt og þó að viti það að það sé ekki að fara allavega bara bíður spennt eftir að sjá myrkrið.
Já, það sko, ég verði náttúrulega mjög snemma að það þarf að selja Íslendingum þetta því að veðrið okkar bara eins og það og
enjoy the Icelandic. I'm going to come back.
Með mér í liði að það yrði heiðskipt allan tíman.
Don't worry.
En ég vonast á að einstaklast að það yrði gat einhvers staðar og einhver fengi notið og til þess að miðla því hvað erum fyrir upplifað þá náttúrulega verðum við að tala hvað gerist ef það skýjað þannig að allir verði ekki bara fyrir vonbrigðum og það nefnilega það sem svo magnað við almyrkva og sólu að það allt breytist. Við munum finna fyrir myrkvanum sama hvað. Það segja að við munum finna fyrir því að það mun kólna. Áhrifin verða náttúrulega aðeins minni þegar svona rosalega skýjað en svo svona í kringum 17:45 þá fyrir við að taka eftir því að það fyrir að rökkva hressilega og svo bara hérna í Reykjavík klukkan 17:48 þá skellur bara á myrkur nótt, stysta nótt lífsins og ég segi alltaf bara fallegast og einstakast og ógleymanlegast nótt lífsins og svo ef það heyrist einhvers staðar einhverjum fuglum þá náttúrulega hægir þeim líka þannig að náttúran hljóðnar og vonandi skarkali mannsins líka muni hljóðna. Það er að segja að það verði fáir sem engir bílar á götunni og fólk bara njóti þessara stundar sem kemur aldrei eftir á þeirra ævi.
En sko þú hefur upplifað þetta annar staðar.
Já.
Hvernig tilfinning var það? Hvernig upplifun þetta?
Ég hef upplifað 4 almyrkva og sólu þannig að ég einn af þessum vitleysingur sem elti þá bara út allan heim og þetta bara ólýsanlega fallegt. Ég hef alltaf fellt á. Ég greinilega mjög svona tilfinningar flóð stundum yfir bara þessari ægifegurð sem blasir við á himninum og þetta það sem ég þrái að sjá núna en lítið fyrir því að gera eins og
En samt langar að byrja þig að lýsa það er náttúrulega búið að fjalla vel og ekki búin að kynna þetta vel og þitt fólk og þannig að fólk veit svona nokkurn hvað máli snýst og eins og fórum yfir áðan þá var þetta útskýrt með þjóðsögum í gamla dag en nú veit það með nákvæmlega hvað fyrirbærið þetta og svona stuttumáli, hvað að fara að gerast? Það
sem að fara að gerast að tunglið náttúrulega að fara fyrir sóluna og varpa skugga sínum á jörðina og fyrir fólk sem hefur heyrt einhverju svona tröllasögur og á TikTok og einhverju slíku og samfélagsmiðlum undanfarið, þá þetta bara skuggi.
Yeah, this is the Icelandic broadcast. This is the Icelandic broadcast, and personally, I don't know about you guys, personally, I like listening to other languages, so while there's no captions for this live stream, or else I would turn them on, I think it's fun. So we're doing what's fun, and we'll get the ESA broadcast on and the NASA broadcast on eventually, but they are not active yet. They turn on at 10:15 a.m. NASA, and then ESA is at 10:30 a.m. So we're starting early, but this eclipse is I think it's starting to go partial right about now actually. But for where it is in Arctic Russia, I don't think anyone really has a view of this. I mean, there's going to be some people, but like streamed to the internet and everything for me to use. And I try to find a source for Greenland, and we may get something from NASA because they are doing like some high altitude cruises and stuff, and some boat tours, like some Arctic expeditions around Greenland, the eastern side of Greenland. I'll show you the eclipse path. We're going to talk about this all a lot, of course. Let me turn this. Yeah, okay. So we're going to go into everything, of course. Yeah. But I couldn't find an official broadcast from Greenland. They had a radio station, but that doesn't have any visual imagery. So that's the deal.
Og svo þetta bara ótrúlega skemmtilega leið til að ferðast. Maður fer á staði sem eru framandi, maður myndi aldrei annars heimsækja og ef maður
upplifir makes the brain flexible to hear other people. I agree. That's why I like it.
Man alveg eftir því ég uppgötaði þetta fyrsta skipti og náttúrulega
put me in Iceland and I could live there.
Síðan í hádeginu 20. árs 2015.
Eventually I'll learn the language.
Og allt sem ég hef lært þeim myrkur sem ég séð undanfarin ár hef ég bara tekið mig til Íslands og það ástæða þess að ég fór að vera leiðinlegu við stjórnvöld og sveitafélög og ferðarþjónustufyrirtæki bara að undirbúa sig af því að við áttum og eigum náttúrulega von á holskipum ferðamanna og ef við höfum ekki undirbúningi þá
grab your coffee, grab whatever it is you like to grab and do and have whatever. Sit back and relax. We got a few hours here. It's going to be a long live stream. It's going to be a long one. I don't like to do them this long, but we'll have fun. We'll have a good time. So.
Það sem hefur kannski komið meira óvart hvað fólk í alvörunni lengi að bregðast við og hvað einhvern veginn áhuginn sem komið samt í sjálfu sér ekkert óvart myndi bara kvikna til.
And let me show you the other live streams they'll be looking at.
Það einhvern veginn samt kemur óvart hvað fólk aðgangshart og náttúrulega sárt eða fær ekki vörurnar sínar til dæmis, ég skil það alveg. En
here is here's a live stream from NASA that goes live in about an hour. And here's the one that we want, because honestly, I don't want to have to be talking over other people, and you know the broadcast that they put out, it just kind of leaves some stuff out. You know, it's always like, it's good. It's good for the general populace, I guess. I mean, it's good stuff. It's just like, not really my jam 100%. It's good though. But then we have our telescope broadcast, which is from ESA, and this, as far as I know, is just the view from Spain. So it's going to show the partial, it'll show the total solar eclipse for about a minute, and then it'll show the partial again, boom, it's over. Now, unfortunately, I think we're just seeing the view from Spain for this one here, whereas the NASA one, they're talking about some other views that they're going to be showing with these research aircraft and more. So we are going to have the NASA one on. We're going to have to kind of flip back and forth a little bit, I think, which may be difficult, honestly, because these These live streams keep playing the audio even after you've already turned off that layer. So if I have 3 live streams going simultaneously, it's going to be kind of wild. I'm going to have to manage that. But go back to our Icelandic one here. Try to learn Icelandic now. Good morning, America. That's right. Good morning, America. 9:09 a.m. here on the west coast of the United States, California. Nova Albion, if you didn't know, founded by Drake himself with his plundering, his pillaging and plundering they did with his voyage over to the western part of South America and North America. And we are not seeing the eclipse at all from where we are. You know, it's only for, yeah, I wanted to show you that map. Let me show you that map. Maybe I should move this up here. So here's the eclipse map right here. So it starts again, Russian Arctic. But it starts to go partial before that, but then you'll see the path of totality slice in right there, travels past the eastern part of Greenland, western part of Iceland, and then through Spain exactly, ending with the Balearic Islands. So that's the path of it. It's a bit unusual, and because it's in the polar regions, that's what makes this a fairly short eclipse. This is not a long eclipse as a result, because of the tilt and everything. Yeah, and we'll talk about that, Scott, the how our moon is the perfect distance for the eclipse. I'll start to get into some actual, I'll do a proper presentation on this. Right now we're just kind of chilling. I have some videos that I have downloaded that I'll load in actually right now. We can do that. So we have our lunar orbit right here. This will explain it. That's a nice eclipse map. I'll load that in too. Today's the day we float, folks. Get ready, gravity is shutting off. 7 seconds. Bolt yourself down. Strap yourselves in. Buckle up, buttercups. It's happening. Yeah, that's right. Get ready. No. Wait, hold up. There we go. Yo. I'm still listening to Icelandic, by the way. So it's kind of fun. Well, while I do this in the background, I'll put on the Icelandic broadcast. Okay, it's fun. Let me do this for you guys.
Verið undir alskugga tungsins. Ég fæ 1 mínútu viðbót núna, þótt ég sjá hana sennilega ekki. og ég ætla að njóta hverjar einustu sekundu af því. Sennilega hágrándi þetta með börnin í fanginu.
Sko ekki að ég vilji strá salti í sárin, en ég sá núna bara rétt áðan og sko allstaðar annarstaðar það sem hann sést.
Já.
Þú veist, í þessum borgum þar í Valencia á Spáni og eitthvað.
Akkurat.
Þar allstaðar sól, þannig að við erum einhvern veginn bara á versta blettinum.
Já, ég veit.
Elsku Sævar, jæja.
Ég veit, þetta hérna, og ég fæ skilaboð frá erlendum vinnum mínum sem að bara að senda mér samúðarkveðjur, sko, og finna til með manni, en hérna, þetta er eitthvað sem maður veit alveg að maður á von og að gerist.
Laun heimsins eru óréttlætið.
Algjörlega, og hérna, maður er ekki alltaf heppinn í lífinu, en ég hefði frekar verið til í að upplifa skýjaðan myrk á Spáni heldur en á Íslandi.
Já.
Og það er bara heimahagarnir, taugin súis og römm
looks like in about 90 minutes.
Mér langast og ég þrái einhvern veginn svo mikið að þið fáið líka að upplifa þetta og sjá þetta svo þið skiljið mig loksins. Hvers slags ruggluð alltaf maður er að elda þetta allt saman.
En Látrabjarg er nú það sem getur glatt okkur.
Já.
Það ekki?
Jú, mér finnst það reyndar ótrúlegt að sjá það sé bjart þar ennþá. Ennþá allavega og vonandi helst þetta svona. Ég náttúrulega, nágranninn minn, hann er hérna með sjónauka frá mér til þess að taka þetta upp fyrir mig ef að illa fyrir hjá okkur.
Þó það verður ekki alveg bjart það eru líkur að það verður þá háskýjað, þannig að það er svona eitthvað.
Sko það er bara allt í lagi, bara eins og þetta er núna, þar sem hún sér því sólina, þá erum við bara góð. Þannig að almyrkvar eru svo svona fyrirgefandi náttúrufyrirbæri að þú þarft ekkert fullkomið veður. Það verður vissulega best að hafa alveg heiðskýrt eins og bara á mánudaginn segi ég. En það þarf ekki, bara því að sólin er björt og hún sést í gegnum göt á skýjunum. Þannig að hver bauð upp á þetta rusli?
Þetta er bara
Stefan,
harðlega.
is that me?
Eins og segi,
bara temúveður.
Algjörst Temu-veður, kannski ágætlega einmitt hafa til huga. Fólk keypti gleraugu á Temu og kannaðu vel og vandlega ef þau sjást einhvers staðar.
Heyrðu, það var nú líka eitt, því við höfum aðeins verið að fá spurningar sko, við þessar aðstæður. Já. Þá þarf náttúrulega ekki gleraugu.
Þá þarf náttúrulega ekki gleraugu. En ef það skildun gerast að núna næstu 2 tímana eða svo að 3 að það glitti í sólina, ef hún sést, þá náttúrulega þarf að nota gleraugu til þess að horfa í átt til hennar. Stundum gætur enda sólmyrkvagleraugun verið aðeins svo mikið, af því þau hleypa svo litlu ljósi í gegn og þá getur mér þess að skýin bara virka eins og náttúruleg síja og það er mjög fallegt reyndar að horfa á þannig, en hérna þá bara fara með gát að sjálfsögðu og þetta er nefnilega ekkert svona hættulegt eins og margir vilja vera að láta, bara alls ekki. Það er ekki ástæðan fyrir því.
We're gonna turn them off. I'll listen. If it switches back to English because I interview someone, then I'll flip it back on again, okay? I think that timer reset. Pretty sure that timer reset. Yes, it did. Because it's going to be in an hour and 30 minutes now. Oh yeah, here we go. Okay, that's not, I need to leave that up or else it resets. Oh, there's also another feed that I'm going to pull up. The Royal Observatory in the UK is going to do something. It's only going to be partial, but they're going to have a telescope feed the whole time. So I think that's going to be a good one to load up as well. Give me a higher love. Oh, here we go.
I've tried to make it as in keeping but also fun as we could.
And like, will they be able to witness the eclipse from here, or how is this designed? If you could like talk us through it.
I've tried to make it fit for every occasion, so they can enjoy the eclipse from it. They can see the glacier, which is directly in front, and the main stage, and they can sit and enjoy the stunning lava rocks that are behind them.
And you're just about finishing up. 24 hours to go. Will it be finished before everything begins?
100% it'll be finished. Actually not far off on these, a few hours. Electrician's going to come and wire them up to make that they've got lights and things inside.
Wow.
And then put a fence in front and we're off to go, ready.
Miðað við veðurspár þá möguleiki að Norrlendingar sjá einna best til sólar. Þegar það var orðið ljóst þá stökk okkar fólk að fréttastofu.
So we have our other live stream we're going to add right now. Normally I can adjust it. What's happening here?
Og nú erum við komin til Siglufjarðar. Skýjafarið búið að vera nokkurn veginn svona eins og þið sjáið hérna á leiðinni, þó aðeins létt skýjaðara nær Eyjafirðinum. En ef þetta heldur svona, þá sjáum við nú aðeins í sólina og miðað við hvernig er svona umhorfs hér, þá koma glufur í skýjunum. Við vonum bara að það verði á réttum tíma. Já, nú erum við komin í fljótin og eins og þið sjáið að þá er skýjafarið kannski ekki alveg eins og við höfðum vonað. Ég er með Skagafjörðurinn er hérna fyrir aftan mig, Siglufjörður hérna hinum megin. Hingað er komið aðeins af fólki sem að veðjaði líka á þennan stað. En ef þið rýnið hérna í þá eru nú svona bjartar hérna rifur í skýjunum. Þannig að það er ennþá séns, skulum við segja. Og vegna þess erum við búin að stilla upp hérna þessari kameru sem að Kristófer Óli tökumaður ætlar að manna og við ætlum að freista þess að þetta verði staðurinn þar sem við náum að mynda þennan myrkva almennilega. Og þó þetta sé ekki þessi almyrkvi margum talaði á sólu, þá erum við að tala um 98% cirka deildarmyrkva sem að eftir því sem við komumst næst er bara dálítið merkilegt og kannski bara 2% síri það bil heldur en hinn. En eins og ég segi, þá bíðum við hér, það er svona hæg austanátt og við treystum á það að þessi ský fari á hreyfingu. Það er dálítið það sem bændur hérna í Skagafirðinum segja mér að á þessum tíma eigi að fara að létta til og við bara bíðum róleg og látum ykkur vita á eftir hvernig þetta lítur út.
Takk fyrir þetta, Ólöf. Já, fyrir norðan, þetta var nú svolítið óvænt sem að Norðurlandi datt inn í gær.
Já, við vorum náttúrulega búin að einblína bara á þessa sólmyrkvaslóð, almyrkvaslóð, getum við sagt, vestanvert landið. Svo þegar var okkur bent á það bara af veðurfræðingi, náttúrulega, að hérna.
Okay. I'm going to do a little presentation now. We have these, well, okay. There's a lot of people here. Some of you may be new. Hello and welcome. I'm your host, Stefan Burns, geologist, geophysicist, space weather guy. We are going to be broadcasting the total solar eclipse that's occurring today, August 12th. If you didn't know the date, it is August 12th, 2026. This solar eclipse is passing, as you will see right here, from Arctic Russia through Greenland, past the western fjordlands of Iceland, and then basically terminating right over Spain. Okay, so there are multiple feeds I have. I don't know which live stream is going to be the best. I was actually thinking about going to Iceland for this festival that they have there. And it's going to be really cool. I have a friend who's there. She showed up to the event we did in San Diego. She's super pumped. I just didn't get the biggest pool to go. And then I was thinking about Spain and going to Spain to broadcast for you guys live from Spain. And I almost pulled the trigger on that, but I didn't feel 100% for it. And typically when I go somewhere, I'm like, boom, I really want to go. So I wasn't feeling the pull. So I'm where I am here in the United States, California. And we have a variety of live streams loaded up. This is from NASA, this is from ESA, the local Icelandic station, which is what we've been watching. And then also from the Royal Observatory of Greenwich. So I don't know which one's going to be the best. All right, that's kind of the point of me mentioning that. We're going to flip through them. I think the telescope feed from the ESA is probably what we'll land on. And it's going to be the same for the Royal Observatory out of the UK. But they're not going to get a full totality. It's just going to be a partial eclipse for them. They're going to get really close, but it's just going to be partial. So, but there's going to be some other interesting things from the Icelandic one, from the NASA stream. So we'll look at them, okay? But basically, let's just do a quick little, what the heck is this? What are we actually looking at? So this is what we're looking at. We have the sun, and this is obviously not to scale, okay? But we have the sun, we have the moon, and we have the earth, and they are in an alignment. And so this is a new moon. Anytime you have a sun, moon, earth alignment, it is a new moon. And as you can see, the moon, if it perfectly positions itself in front of the earth, in between the sun, and there's no inclination, because the moon has a 5.15 degree inclination to its orbit. So sometimes it's actually a little bit above the sun-earth ecliptic plane. And so you can have, like we have the new moon, right? We have the moon pass in front of the sun every 28 days or so. But most of the time it's passing above or below, and it doesn't pass over the sun at all. Now, if it passes over the sun, you get a partial eclipse at a minimum. Sometimes it just kind of like hits like this, right? Imagine this is head on, okay? Sometimes it just passes over like that. But when you get the moon to perfectly line up like it's going to, that is a total solar eclipse. So here we see that very nicely with this visualization here. So we see it pass perfectly. Now the other thing to keep in mind is that this is a total solar eclipse. So there's also annular eclipses as well. And I can show you what an annular eclipse looks like with this with this animation right here. So let me load this up for you guys. Because they are different and they depend on the orbit of the moon, where it is in its orbit. So these are the two different types of solar eclipses we have if we exclude just the more mundane partial eclipses, which are still cool, but they're not as cool, for being honest. They're not as profound, you could say. So this is an annular eclipse right here, where it's passing directly in between the earth and the sun, but as you can tell, the moon is tiny, so it does not fully block the sun, because we have in the orbit of the moon variation, about 1/8. So it's about a 12.5% variation in how close or how far away it can get to the earth. And I have that graphic right here. So we see the moon is traveling around, and we see that the earth right here is offset, right? This is an ellipse. So apogee is the furthest point, perigee is the closest. And here it's about 356,000 kilometers. There's about 407,000 kilometers. The scaling is not true to scale, as we can see, easier to see this way. But as a result of that, you get a total solar eclipse when you have the Earth and the moon and the sun in a line. The moon is not above or below the Earth. It's right at the nodal point where its orbit crosses the ecliptic plane, and it coincides with its perigee. So I have another graphic I'll show you for the lunar orbit, because maybe it's not this will just make it easier to kind of understand. So this should pull it up right here. And this is really based on the lunar nodes. Here we go. We're doing it live, folks. We're doing it live. Okay. So as you can tell, here is Earth's orbit. There's the sun, and you have this lunar orbit that's inclined. These nodes are where the lunar orbit intersects Earth's orbit. All right. So that is that alignment. And these move every 18.6 years. They do a rotation. So you need the moon to be in a new moon position. You need it to be on the node. And for a total solar eclipse, you need it to be at its closest to Earth. So we have a supermoon today. When we have high tides, we actually have king tides today as a result. So you get an annular eclipse when the moon is at that apogee. It's at its furthest. And as a result, it just simply doesn't fully block the sun, and we get this ring of fire, that's also really cool to see. But during a total solar eclipse, because the sun does get fully blocked out, some interesting things occur. All of a sudden it gets dark. Like the sun is gone. It disappears. It's totally dark. The temperature drops. Depending on how long totality is, it can drop actually significantly, like 5, 10, 15 degrees. So that really, just that right there shows you that global climate change and global warming is not just anthropogenic, right? There's these different camps, and people say it's only the sun, it's only the earth, it's only, CO2 or whatever. It's like, listen, folks, it's all three. Because clearly, the moment we get this moon to pass in front of the sun, even just for a couple minutes, temperatures plummet really quick. Of course, they come back, but you turn off that light, well, the heat drops really fast. So you have that. You have solar insolation goes down, which is the amount of energy that the Earth is absorbing from that sunlight. You get these weird shadows that get cast. And as a result of it passing directly in between, and I can pull this cool image up right here, you get to see the solar corona in these prominences. So let me show you that. Here's a high-res image of the total solar eclipse just having occurred, like it's just happening. And so we get a little bit of the sun peeking out, giving you a sense of how bright it is, right? The sun's very, very bright. So these photos here, just keep in mind with these photos of total solar eclipses, you'd be like, oh, well, it's really bright on the side, right? Well, that's the corona. And the camera is going to adjust its exposure generally, or you change your exposure in order to image these things. But the sun itself is so bright, you can't really, unless you have a special filter on the camera, you can't point it directly at the sun without burning it out. So the corona is very, very dim, and these prominences stick out. And this is where superheated plasma, millions of degrees Kelvin, exist. There's interactions with plasma and dust in the corona, which helps drive this heating and solar flares and more. New research coming out on that, which is pretty cool via the Parker Solar Probe. But as you can tell, even just a sliver of the sun, it's so bright, it just washes and exposes out this image here. Okay. But during that totality, because you don't have the moon at its furthest in its orbit, its apogee, because that's perigee, and it does completely block the sun, you get a very nice view of the corona. And if you were to have a big solar storm launch out, you would literally see that with your eyes if totality was long enough. If you could park the moon there for a while and then you had a big solar storm launch towards Earth, it would be like apocalypse now. It's coming for you right now. Get ready. And then the gravity turns off. So that's happening again for the Arctic, the Russian Arctic, and then going through the Arctic Circle, which is where we have our magnetic field, of course. The magnetic pole in the northern hemisphere, which has been moving very rapidly. Some field changes have been occurring over the past 50 years. I mean, there's always changes occurring, but really notably over the past 50 years, this is slicing through that region, slicing through Greenland, where there's been a lot of geopolitical back and forth. And if you study into mundane astrology, these eclipses are synchronistic with events that are unfolding in the real world. So, interesting that all of a sudden we get all this drum banging about Greenland right around the time of this eclipse, which is passing through this area. And by the way, it's not common for an eclipse to occur for an area. It's like, I think for any single location, it's like once every 350 years or something. It's very minor. So it's going to be slicing through Greenland and then western Iceland. The fjords there, that's something interesting. Let me pull that up for you because this is really cool. Well, I'm not sure I should use the word cool, and you'll see why. But let me show you this. Here we have the path through Greenland. Okay, or sorry, Iceland. I don't want to be he who shall not be named. Here's Iceland. All right, and we see it passing right through Grindavik, where we've been having these big volcanic eruptions. Blue Lagoon is over here. That might be it right there. That might be Blue Lagoon. I think that is. The famous geothermal spa and everything. Reykjavik is further over. So they are, if I remember right, they are just outside the eclipse path. Maybe, no, it looks like that's it right there. So, okay, they are in it as well. Oh, I didn't realize Reykjavik was in. I thought it was just the western fjord lands. That's cool. But the closer you get, the longer that totality is. So anyways, the thing is I want to point out here is that Grindavik started erupting. I was in Iceland in May and June of 2023. I specifically went to this location and explored all around before I left on my trip because of the geology and the geothermal and everything. It's very interesting. And I went to I've told the story before, I went to a geothermal kind of like nature park. And when I showed up, the lady's like, yeah, by the way, everything's half off. Like your ticket's only like $5 today instead of 10. I was like, oh, why is that? She's like, well, I got here today and all the geothermal pools, they're empty. It's like, what? She's like, yeah, normally they're full, but last night they all emptied out. They're gone. I was like, that's kind of odd. Does that happen all the time? She's like, no, last time we had this happen was when we had a big eruption. And that was years and years and years ago. I was like, oh, okay. So basically, that was about 6 months before we started to get the rift eruption in Grindavik, which is December 2023, if you may recall. So I was there 6 months before, effectively, and there was already changes that the locals were talking about as it relates to we may have a big eruption coming up. So that happened. That's been on and off. Okay, that's been on and off. Now, there is a tremendous amount of earthquake activity occurring along this part of the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, right here. Zoom out further, we can see it. Okay, because remember, the mid-ocean ridge cutting through the Atlantic Ocean is centered right underneath Iceland. Iceland's rifting apart, but the reason you have a big island here is because of the hot spot. So you also have a hot spot coming up, filling in all those gaps and more. It's a very dynamic place. And there's a lot of Icelandic geologists who are saying that this new eruption that's been starting off near Grindavik and Iceland in general could be the start of a new supercycle. Like it could be like the most volcanic activity at like a 500 and even like 800 year time scale. So we really don't know. But there's a huge amount of earthquake activity happening here, and there's a huge amount of magma buildup. So we're at like critical levels right now in Iceland after the eruptions that have already occurred. It's really building up like crazy. And what is the chance that we have the total solar eclipse passing directly over this location where we're seeing the most activity in Iceland? And at this time, the two lining up together at the same time is crazy. And someone on X, because I posted about this, someone on X asked Grok for like the probabilities and whether there's any like causality or anything, and the Grok AI was like, it's exceedingly rare. It wasn't even able to calculate the possibility. It was like, well, I can't really calculate the possibility because I don't know the volcano frequency and whatever. But I can assure you, it's just chance, and there's no synchronicity there. It's like, get the fuck out of here, man. So, so that is a synchronicity. That's the definition of a synchronicity. When you have this profound celestial event that has been regarded as one of the like most awe-inspiring spiritual events that you can experience as a human or just in general, right? That'd be total solar eclipses, supernova explosions, and like a giant, like a super bright visible comet. We're probably like all in the same category, right? And those have all been connected to some pretty crazy things. If you have that path passing directly over the area that's having this huge amount of volcanic buildup, that's a synchronicity. That's not called chance. That's called a synchronicity because there's meaning inherent with that. In addition, you have the synchronicity of Greenland being a card on the table, you could say, geopolitically. And you have 3 eclipses passing over Spain, okay, which is kind of wild. So we go look at that graphic right here. And here we see the 3 eclipse paths for Spain. We have this one right here. Look at how it doesn't hit Portugal or France. It perfectly cuts through Spain and ends directly at the Balearic Islands here. Then you have the total eclipse path for next year, the longest of the 21st century, only hitting a little bit, but perfectly passing through the Strait of Gibraltar. Now that's interesting because we already right now in the Middle East have multiple choke points. The Strait of Hormuz, the Bab al-Mandeb, we have them shut down. Maybe this is speaking to there being some shake-up with the Strait of Gibraltar. And of course, the UK still has some ownership there of that, and Spain wants that to change. So that's interesting, but that does hit Spain. And then we have this annular eclipse. So not total, so an annular on the 26th of January 2028. So the next 18 months have 3 eclipse paths going over Spain. And Spain has also been making some geopolitical moves. And I'm not endorsing or not endorsing any of this, okay? I have my own thoughts and opinions, but I'm just relaying the information to you. You know, they won the World Cup, big shakeup, won the World Cup, which is pretty cool. And they also have been implementing some new government policies and standing, from their perspective, okay, again, I'm not endorsing whatever. I have my own thoughts, but whatever, not getting into it. They've been standing up to NATO and basically saying, no, you can't use our bases to fly military missions into Iran and bomb them, whatever. Like, we don't endorse that, and so we're not letting you use our facilities. So they've been at the center of a whole bunch of back and forth, not only between their European allies and the EU, but also with the United States and more. So to have 3 eclipse paths passing directly over Spain in 18 months is very rare. Like I don't know the percentage probability, but it's very rare. So that's speaking to, according to mundane astrologists, speaking some pretty big changes coming to Spain now and going forward. Like, they're already happening, but this is going to continue on, probably going into 2028 and probably 2029, if according to right. So very interesting. Other thing to point out here with this eclipse path is, and we're getting close to these live streams starting up. Other thing to point out was that this is, as I mentioned with Iceland, the mid-ocean ridge, but this is also where we have Gokul Ridge, which is a spreading center, the northernmost continuation of the Mid-Atlantic spreading center. And it's the slowest spreading center geologically on the planet, with rates of about 1 to 2 centimeters per year, whereas, for example, the Southeast Pacific Rise, which is further off the coast here of South America, it'll be like 14, 15 centimeters per year. So at 1 to 2, it's very slow. And in fact, right about here, you have a giant caldera blasted out of the ocean floor there, which is already very thin. The oceanic crust in the Arctic is very thin. And you have this giant caldera that's blasted out, about 3,000 cubic kilometers in size. And that's believed to have been from a supervolcano eruption because the spreading rate is so low and the CO2 gas percentage, these volatiles in the magma is so high, about 10 times more than normal, about 15%, that it seems to have this something about the geology here. It builds up these big magma chambers with super high CO2 content, and then when that thing goes, it goes, baby. And it, was one of the largest supervolcano eruptions that we know of geologically, 3,000 cubic kilometers of material, about 1.1 million years ago. So that's also passing directly over Gokul Ridge and the Gokul supervolcano caldera, where there is still active volcanism. One of the largest seismic earthquake swarms, if not the largest ever recorded, occurred in 1999 on the Gokul Ridge. Created 3 new volcanoes at depth, Odin, Loki, and Thor. Seems very fitting with where this eclipse is going to pass over. And they went down with submersibles afterwards, and they actually found pyroclastic glass deposits littering the slopes of these volcanoes. So even though it was down like 3-4 kilometers below the surface, think of how much pressure that is. There was still so much explosivity to this magma that it was able to create pyroclastic flows underwater at depth, which is crazy. And that's how they know. That's how they know that the CO2 content percentage and more. So we don't know everything about that area, but we know enough to not be clueless. And yeah, there's some very interesting things going on. So something else to mention before we get into some of these other live streams is that we have the Perseid Meteor Shower, Perseids. It's the Perseid Meteor Shower. I don't really want to turn that off. 1 second. My timer here is useful. Okay. So the Perseids are these little meteors that hit us every June to September, and they're part of a meteor stream that intersects Earth's orbit. This is peaking today, August 12th. So they really start to ramp up later at night, going into dawn, but our counts already are very, very high. We can look at that right here. We're seeing that our meteor shower activity levels are already at the highest. It's off the chart for the global meteor network, 140 meteors per hour. There's a chance that people that are watching this total solar eclipse, that they'll actually catch a little meteor flying in when everything goes dark. And that's interesting energetically because you have all these little meteors coming in and basically vaporizing into the mesosphere, 70, 90 kilometers up, depositing plasma and more into that location of the ionosphere, which overlaps with the mesosphere. So it's interesting. You pair that with the planetary parade that we have happening. So we have this planetary parade, and it's Jupiter, Mercury, Mars, Uranus, Saturn, and Neptune for the next few mornings. Right before dawn, you will see this. Eventually, Mercury will move ahead. By move ahead, I mean it's going to go this direction and perform a superior conjunction with the sun. But right now, it's behind the sun. So you only see Jupiter and Mercury right before the sun rises because they're close to it. So all these guys are kind of moving like this, but they're going to be below the horizon earlier in the morning, and they're only going to show up right before sunrise. So you want to look to the eastern horizon just before sunrise. Jupiter and Mercury should be visible if you have a clear horizon, and it will be kind of bright. Maybe binoculars will help. Mars should be visible. Saturn should be visible. But then Uranus and Neptune will be dim unless you have a nice pair of binoculars and dark sky conditions and or a telescope. So we also have this happening, which is interesting. And all together, I mean, this is the video I did yesterday. All together, what does that mean? I don't really know, but it's certainly fascinating. It just speaks to, in general, there being greater volatility, and I would say surprises are more likely. Like just things that you wouldn't expect to happen, just coming out of kind of left field. I'd say that's probably something that we could expect to a higher degree when you have this overlap of factors with the Planetary Parade and the Perseids and more. Now I'm also pulling up for you, and I discussed this in yesterday's live stream too, but we'll discuss it again because this is a new live stream with maybe some new people here. Hello and welcome. I'm your host, Stefan Burns, geologist, geophysicist, space weather guy. Here we see the comets right now, which are all really close in to our planet. So this is actually back here in April, as you can see. And we'll see these two comets right here get very close to Earth right around this time. We'll get to August pretty soon. You see how close they get in right there, okay? There we are. We just passed through our total solar eclipse. And then you'll see that Earth rotates and starts to get close to McNaught and Howell. The interesting thing to point out with these comets is that, there we go. Interesting thing to point out with these comets is that right now 220P McNaught has a coma about the size of the sun. 88P Howell has a coma about twice the diameter, actually a little bit more than twice the diameter of Jupiter. 10, again, coma, which is the dust, the gas, the plasma that surrounds the comet. So the actual nucleus is maybe like a kilometer or something like that. But because it's so low gravity and it's a tiny nucleus and it has these volatiles, it can expand out this gas shell very, very wide. I have the latest photo here. It may not be the absolute latest anymore, but I'll show you this one here of, yeah, that's the other one. Here it is. Of Howell. You see actually 2 layers to the coma. And then you see this bow shock, magnetopause, dust boundary. And then you see the nucleus itself. So that's the coma. That's what I'm talking about when I'm describing these things. And then 10P Temple has a coma about 3 times the diameter of Jupiter. And then 169P Neat has a coma about the diameter of Jupiter. So we have these comets all have really big comas right now for some reason, which is a mixture of gas, dust, and once you have gas and dust in space, you get plasma. Because even if something is weakly ionized, for example, the ionosphere, Earth's upper atmosphere, is just 1% plasma in general. It can be a little bit more than that times with the solar storm impact, a solar flare, whatever. In general, it's 1% plasma. But the moment something becomes a plasma, even if it's just 1%, it's weakly ionized, now it has completely different properties than a neutral gas. And the plasma properties become dominant. So you don't need it to get ionized to 100% for it to be a plasma. You just need there to be some degree of ionization, which the moment you have, an injection of this stuff into the space environment, there you go. So that's very interesting as well. That is very interesting as well. Let us go back now to our Icelandic broadcast, see what they are saying. Here we go. It has started. It has started. I'm not sure what they're saying. Maybe I'll leave this on for now. I'll just kind of put it somewhere else. You see my timer is a little off. That's fine. And let's see what they are saying with this broadcast.
Sólmyrkva gleraugunum vegna þess að núna byrjað að kvarnast aðeins úr sólarkringlunni og maður sér þarna eins og sé búið að bíta aðeins úr henni. Ég veit ekki hvort það þorandi að segja ykkur í Reykjavík hvað það yndislegt veður hér. Mér hegnist örugglega fyrir það eftir klukkutíma þegar kemur á almyrkvanum, en það bara mjög indælt hérna. Hingað hafa náttúrulega komist færri en vilja, en þeir sem eru hérna eru búin að koma sér fyrir. Hér fólk búið að setja upp ýmis konar græjur, sumir eru með kíki, aðrir eru með mjög flókin og vönduð myndavélasett til að svona ná því besta út úr almyrkvanum. En eitt sem allir eiga samleitt hérna það eru allir byrjaðar að horfa upp í loftið og dást að þessu bara. Þetta nú bara dálítið skemmtilegt. Á Bolafjalli, aðeins norður af okkur, Eva. Hvernig lítur þetta út hjá ykkur? Nei. Heyrðu, við erum ekki búin að heyri þeim alveg strax, en við ætlum að athuga hvað þau hafa að segja þetta fyrir sunnan.
Takk fyrir þetta, Greta. Gísli, það mjög áhugavert að sjá hversu hratt þetta gerist. Bitinn var bara pínu lítill á hann.
Nákvæmlega,
rétt á hann.
Þetta eins og Greta Sigríður orðað, þetta svona eins og sé að vera að narta í þetta og það gerist þessi hratt. Þetta svona og þetta ótrúlega fallegt. Þetta frekar einfalt og ómerkilegt tannilega. Þetta bara svona þetta bara blettur, en en þetta tilkomið mikið og við sjáum það náttúrulega og heyrðum hjá henni Greta Sigríði að það er blíða, það bölvur blíðan fyrir vestan.
Ég samgleðst bara, ég mjög glöð að einhver á að sjá þetta.
Vona að þetta haldist sem lengst og allan tíman, þannig að við
It's happening.
Hérna erum svo komin á Garðskaga viti, þannig að það dásamlegt að fá að fylgjast með þessu öllu saman.
Þarna greinilega komin talsvert af fólki, fer ekki að milli mála. Þarna er mikið af bílum og þarna þarna svona
býður fólk í ponchóum.
Já, og skíahullan, hún alveg, það lágskíað en vonandi, og það alveg smuga en þá að það eftir aðeins að rífa af sér glaðna örlítið til þarna á Suðurnesjunum, vonum það.
Svo sé ég hérna núna í fréttavaktinni að það hefur verið lokað fyrir bílaumferð út á Gróttu á Seltjarnarnesi, þangað sem að fólk streymdi. Bílar komast ekki lengra norður leiðina en að Lindarbraut.
Það gert til að venda viðkvæmt svæði, ekki satt?
Jú.
Já.
En það komin bílaröð inn á Seltjarnarnes og þá nokkur fjöldi fólks á leiðinni fótgangandi út að Gróttu eftir því sem ég sé.
Yeah, this is the broadcast from Iceland. All right, so this is Icelandic that you're hearing.
Komin í stellingar.
Which interesting, just a little side note here is one of the European languages that sounds the most ancient because they just split off so long ago. They retained a lot of the more ancient dialect, you could say. So if you want to hear what like ancient European sounded like 1,000 years ago, listen to Icelandic.
Það viðburðarík starf þar, en hins vegar ætlar skýin ekki að leyfa okkur að sjá deildarmyrkvann allavega ekki alveg strax, því að það er þétt skýjað. Við getum orðað þannig við getum nú ekki sett upp gleraugun alveg strax, við sjáum nú ekki mikið. En það er alltaf búið að linna á rigningunni sem er mjög vel þegið. Þannig hérna er loksins rífandi stemning. Þannig við sendum eins og boltan aftur í Ræstaliti.
Sofía.
Takk fyrir þetta, Sebastian.
Styttist í hana.
Hérna sjáum við að þetta gerist allt saman mjög hratt og það er svolítið áhugavert að það er greinilega fólk sem hefur svona alveg einlægan áhuga. Við erum til dæmis að gifta sig á þessum degi eða 10 árum fyrr til að eiga brúðkaupsafmæli á þessum degi. Já. En það er svona, ég er gaman af öllu sem er svona mikil ástríða.
Já,
fyrir einhverju.
Ég segi stundum að það er sama hversu vitlaust áhugamál ef þú hefur afstæði fyrir því, þá getur maður ekki annað en hrifist með. Og þetta náttúrulega auðvitað ekki skrítið, það eitthvað bara mystíst við þetta og það er svo fylgja töfrar og það er ekki skrítið að þó sé ekki allir í afnu langt leitir og sævarvinur okkar, þá er ekki skrítið að býsta margir, þeir leggja alls mikið á sig til til þess að sjá þetta og finna á eigin skinni.
Já, ég held að Anna Lilja sem að fór Suðursjó,
Hún er búin að vera
á því
dugleg að
svæði
skapa sér
allan dag.
partí og alls konar.
Já, frábær, talandi stemmingu, mikil stemmingskona. Já, hún með hjón, eða sem sagt fólk sem á 10 ára brúðkaupsafmæli í dag.
Hún er í afmæli.
Hún er í afmæli.
Já, við höfum spurnir að því að í einu húsi hérna í Reykjanesbæ væri verið að fagna ástinni og okkur leikna sjálfsögðu forvitna að vita hvers vegna það væri verið að gera það á þessum degi. Góðan og blessaðan daginn.
Góðan dag.
Upp á hvað er haldið hér í þessu húsi?
Sko, já, 20 ára sambandsamali og 10 ára brúðkaupsamali.
Og er ykkur tilviljun að brúðkaupsammalistaginn ykkar ber upp á þennan dag, almyrkva daginn?
Já, við var hérna, hvenær var það?
2015 var deildarmyrkvi.
Já.
Þá höfðum við áhuga á þessum myrkvum og vorum að googla hvenær væri næsti og þá erum við nýlega trúlofið og þá sáum við að á 20 ára sambandsammalinn okkar yrði næsti almyrkvi og við djókum með að bíða bara með að gifta okkur þangað til þá en það var svolítið langt. En þegar við áttum 10 ára sambandsamali þá var föstudagur og þá myndum við eiga 10 ára brúðkaupsamali þegar við myndum gifta okkur sérst þá í miðjunni.
Og það er í dag?
Já, og það er í dag.
Í dag er 20 ára sambandsamali, 10 ára brúðkaupsamali og almyrkvi.
Og almyrkvi.
Þannig að bara náttúran og bara almættið er bara með ykkur í liði?
Já, það er allan vonandi að veðrið er kannski svona rjúfi aðeins til svona eftir en við bara verðum að vona það besta.
Já, annars bara höfum við það kósí, þú veist, að upplifa myrkur miðjan dag og já, vonandi dettur einhver í heimsókn. Það er náttúrulega erfitt fyrir fólk að vera að ferðast mikið með traffíkinu og annað, sko. En það eru einhverjir sem ætla að reyna að láta það reyna, sjáum hvað gerist. Og það er nóg til af vöfflum og kaffi. Og
svona haldið upp á daginn með góðum vöfflum og kaffisopa?
Já, og fyrst og fremst bara með hverju öðru, sko.
Já, það er aðalega það.
Já.
En haldið þið almennt upp á brúðkaupsammalistaginn ykkar?
Já, við reynum yfirleitt að gera eitthvað, hvort sem við ferðast innanlands eða eitthvað þannig.
Já, við höfum ferðast mjög mikið innanlands. Við höfum bara einu sinni verið, ég var að fara yfir þetta í morgun, við höfum bara einu sinni ekki verið heima hjá okkur. Nei, einu sinni verið heima hjá okkur á brúðkaupsammalinu okkar. Já,
annars hefur við alltaf verið bara einhvers staðar að ferðalagi eitthvað svoleiðis, mikið hérna heima. Já. Við erum að fara til Kanada núna í byrjun september, það er svona í tilefni þess afmæli sem við vildum vera heima allan yfir þennan dag.
Já, í dag, tímum ekki fara neitt.
Nei, tímum ekki missa þessu sko.
Já. En þú sagðir að þið hefðu haft svona áhuga á sólmyrkum eða almyrkum, hvers vegna?
Við bara upplifðum þarna deildarmyrkvan 2015, reyndar í Synchronicities, ég var í skólanum í Guðuninni, en okkur fannst þetta bara áhugavert og mjög mikið áhuga á, alls konar svona náttúru tengdu.
Já, náttúrunni, við náttúrulega mikið áhuga á, eins og öllum.
We have the other live stream starting in 9 minutes. We have the Royal Observatory live stream starting in 9 minutes. So, but we're going to check back in on this one because we have this eclipse hitting Iceland in 45 minutes or so. So we really want to be watching this one right around that time. I'll set actually my timer. Though you guys are going to be telling me in the chat, but just to be sure, let's set this to 40 minutes. Hopefully they just stay focused on the eclipse. We're expanding our brain cells by listening to Icelandic. Yeah, okay. Now if we go here though, yeah, that's live, yeah. All the others are still waiting to premiere. And I have it muted for you guys so you'll only hear me. But yeah, we're still waiting on all these.
En við kveðjum héðan úr þessu húsi ástarinnar í Reykjanesbæ.
I'm not sure when they're gonna get back to the view of the eclipse.
Já, eins og fram hefur komið þá deildarmyrkvinn hafinn og og það má segja sólinn fara svona smá saman eða bara frekar minkandi. Við ætlum að fylgjast með því, en nú ætlum við að fá eitt lag enn svona sólmyrkva tengt frá henni Sofíu Björg og það er lagið Black Hole Sun með Soundgarden.
We have them. We could do it. Ooh, this is nice though.
The face lies the snake, the sun in my disgrace, boiling heat, summer stands, neath the black the sky looks dead, call my name through the cream and I'll hear you scream again. Black hole sun, won't you come and wash away the rain? Black hole sun, won't you come, won't you come? Stuttering, cold and damp, still the warm wind, tired friend. Times are gone for honest men, and sometimes far too long for snakes in my shoes, walking sleep, and my youth I pray to keep. Heaven sent, hell away, no one seems like you anymore. Black hole sun, won't you come and wash away the rain? Black hole sun, won't you come, won't you come? Black hole sun, won't you come and wash away the rain? Black hole sun, won't you come, won't you come? Disappear. Black hole sun, won't you come and wash away the rain? Black hole sun, won't you come, won't you come? Black hole sun, won't you come and wash away the rain? Black hole sun, won't you come, won't you come?
Já, ljúfir sólmyrkva tónar frá Sofíu Björg, en við erum auðvitað búin að vera með veðrið á heilanum, skýjahulu, spána og þetta allt saman hvar sólin gæti sést. Eins og staðan er akkurat núna, þá sést í það minnsta til sólar bæði á Látrabjargi og Bolafjalli og þar er okkar kona Eva Björk Benediktsdóttir. Eva, já, hvernig er staðan hjá þér á Bolafjalli akkurat núna?
Það eru örfáar mínútur síðan að hér sást alveg til sólar. Ég get sett upp gleraugun og sé svona byrjun á þessum deildamirkva. Síðan þá hefur bara dregið fyrir. En við höldum samt í vonina að það breytist aftur. Það er einhvern veginn búið að sjást í sólar og svo er alls skýjað og þetta breytist ekkert eðlilega hratt. Þannig að ég hef full að trúa því að þetta fari vel hérna. Það er talsverður fjöldi komin saman hérna. Ég held að sé hátt í 500 manns allavega. Allt bara gengið vel, mest erlendi ferðamenn og þeir allir, svona allra hörðustu, þeir voru mættir klukkan 2 og búin að stilla upp sínum búnaði og ljósmyndavélum og sjónaugum og allt þetta helsta. Það er þetta mjög stórt svæði og mikið pláss, þannig að fólk dreifist vel og samkvæmt upplýsingum frá björgunarsveitinni hefur þetta allt bara gengið eins og best verður á kosið. En ég ætla allavega persónulega að halda í vonum að ég sjá sólina aftur eins og fyrir 10 mínútum, en ég veit.
Okay, so I'll keep listening to them. But until they get back to English, at least for this next little bit, I'm going to comment. Because I'll just describe what's happening right now. You know, listening to Icelandic is fun, but let's also just kind of focus in on the event. So here it is. Now this is viewed from Iceland. Okay. So, and let's look at the eclipse path again. Oh no, they're moving it. I'm going to have to kind of manage this. But here's our eclipse path. I'll cover it just for a moment. Again, it's starting here. It's already gone over here. You're going to start to see partial eclipse in these locations before you get down to these locations. The UK is having their deepest eclipse in quite some time. That's why we're looking at the Icelandic stream right now from their local station. And then we're going to switch over to ESA, NASA, Royal Observatory of Greenwich. So it's going like this, but because of Iceland's location close to the area of maximum totality, which is around here, actually I think it's like right around here. So they're already seeing that partial eclipse. So there it is again. And what's happening is oh no, it keeps shifting. Okay. What happens is that the moon, you know, it's moving in its orbit. Earth is rotating. And we're also moving around the sun. So it's 3 things simultaneously that are occurring. Our rotation is pretty quick. That's the main thing that governs this eclipse in terms of your location, seeing it, etc. Because eventually you rotate out of that perfect alignment. But what we are observing is the moon slowly passing in front of the sun because it's orbiting around the Earth. So you can't get a total solar eclipse unless it actually does a partial first. And if you're watching this, and actually let me grab these really quick. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so if you're, let's say, watching this from the eastern coast, like the eastern part of the USA, has a partial eclipse visibility. If you have these eclipse glasses, you can see it just like this because you need to block out 99% of the light. Like when I put these on, it's pitch black. But if I go outside with these and look at the sun, I'll see a nice orange circle and it'll block out almost all the light of the sun. So you put these on, I can't again see what's happening on the screen. And then you'd be able to see this moving in front. Now, what the official agencies won't tell you, okay, but we're all adults here, hopefully. Use your brain cells, please. Please, God. If you don't have these, because most people don't have these, but you have some polarized sunglasses, and you have 2 pairs, or 3 or 4 pairs of polarized sunglasses, you can stack them and like angle one pair against the other So the polarization is perpendicular, such that it blocks out all the light. And then you can move one slightly, just so a little smidge of light goes through, and that will allow you to see the partial solar eclipse as well, whether you're in Europe or the parts of North America that are seeing that. But be very careful with that. Don't be stupid, okay? I don't want any of y'all going blind. I like you guys too much, all right? But if you don't have the glasses, see, this is where the partial eclipse is viewed from. So people in Pennsylvania, New England, etc. But if you don't have the glasses already, you didn't prepare ahead of time, but you have the polarized sunglasses, some Oakleys, whatever. Yeah. So I think maybe one of our other live streams has clicked on. Let me give it a look. Okay, yeah, so we're going to switch over really quick. We'll come back. This is the best one we have right now for Iceland. We're going to definitely come back, don't worry. The others we're waiting on, except for the Royal Observatory has started. Yeah, so let's switch it on. Okay. Oops. And the Royal Observatory is going. Now, they are not going to see a full eclipse, as we've talked about. I have so many wires here with my computer. It makes it difficult to get anything done. I have to move my mouse around. They got music playing, but we're going to keep them muted. And actually, someone else must have turned on. It's probably, must be, who else turned on here? NASA turned on. We want to turn them off. 1 second. That's where the music's coming from. Okay. Okay. What time is it? So we're not seeing a partial yet from the UK, right? We're seeing it from Iceland, though. And actually, they're using a good solar telescope for this because we see some of these filaments which are on the sun right now, the hydrogen alpha. Please share more lore around solar eclipse. I'm not sure I really know too much lore around solar eclipses. Just it's a very, it was taken as like an extreme omen. I mean, archetypally, basically represents the death of the sun, and often like the death of solar figures. So let's say ancient Egypt, right? There's evidence to suggest that in some of these ancient cultures where the pharaoh is seen as a god on earth, and connected into that solar principle, that eclipse is a very bad omen for these solar figures. And so they would actually enact some evidence for this. They would actually do these ceremonies where they would have a fake solar figure that they would then like maybe sacrifice, like kill to then appease the gods from having to actually, strike down the real pharaoh in some way. So there's a lot of superstition and an old tradition and beliefs and everything that obviously, well, I was going to say that we don't do now, but in fact, there's a lot of evidence that secret societies now actually do the same things, and that everything in the government is run like the world is run by these. Yeah, so anyways, it gets wild. It gets really crazy. It's a deep rabbit hole. I'm not the biggest expert on this, so I can't really speak beyond that. We are, by the way, on a happier note, we will be doing, I'll be playing some crystal bowls during the total solar eclipse. So once we really start to get into it, I'm not going to be talking, chatting really. I'm just going to be playing the sound bowls for everybody. Because every other stream, if you want to go there, you can. There's, if you don't like what's happening here, that's fine. Everyone else will be talking about it. Earlier in the live stream, I already did a science breakdown as to what is happening. So you can check that out if you want. But we'll be doing the sound bowls later on. Let's see what's happening with our other live streams really quick. Okay, so NASA's started. Let's just check them out really quick. Just see what they're doing. They're talking and everything.
Penumbra shadow, that's where the partial eclipse occurs. But here comes the umbra shadow. That's where totality is happening, inside that little oval. It passes over the east coast of Greenland, the west coast of Iceland, and across northern Spain, where, as Joy said, they'll experience an eclipse within an hour of sunset, so they should have lots of opportunities for really beautiful photographs. And then as the eclipse progresses and that umbra disappears, West Africa will also get an opportunity to see a partial eclipse as that penumbra shadow sort of slides off the edge of the Earth here. Now, as we zoom up and look at Iceland and Spain, Reykjavik is here in that southwest corner of Iceland. We're kind of crossing our fingers for them because it's a little bit cloudy there right now. That umbra shadow is traveling over 2,000 miles an hour as it passes through the path and crosses the North Atlantic. And then it runs into Spain here, where we expect more than 15 million people will be watching this eclipse. Some of them on the beach in Mallorca right before sunset, so they should get some really beautiful photographs over the mountains to the west. Now, the situation in the US is going to look like this. That yellow line is the southern limit of the partial eclipse. So folks south of that line, you're not going to see an eclipse today. But if you're north and east of that line,
you're not seeing diddly squat.
You may already be starting to see the partial eclipse. It takes 2.5 hours for that partial shadow to pass all the way across the United States. So it's not like totality. You don't have to run out there at the exact moment. Some places will have a partial eclipse that lasts for almost 2.5 hours. Others, maybe just an hour. So this is the situation right now. Montana, your eclipse is over. The shadow is passing out of North Dakota, but Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, you're in it. The Northeast is also in it. And for folks in the Mid-Atlantic, you will be in it soon enough. Now, before you run outside to look at your eclipse that's happening right now, we want to show you a short video about how to observe this eclipse safely.
We're going to go back to the Icelandic one, all right? But we'll keep it on the background. Ho ho! What is up? I don't think they're speaking English yet. Yeah, still Icelandic. And that's fine. We'll just keep it off for now. So this is our view from Iceland. Getting pretty close. I'm not sure what this is about. We must be showing something off. And if we go back to the UK, oh, we're starting to get it for the UK. Check that out. What up? Boom, boom, boom. There we go. So we can see the difference. This is really cool. We can see how much further ahead Iceland is versus the UK based on the path of this eclipse. Again, going from the Russian Arctic down through eastern Greenland, Iceland, and then through Spain. So, of course, The observatory is probably around here, right? That's further down the eclipse path. And so we see a weaker eclipse, you know, still earlier into the partial phase, whereas it's getting pretty close to totality about 20 minutes from now for Iceland. Boom, boom, boom. Now NASA, I guess, is going to be showing some views from Iceland too. I think they're going to be doing something like that, but this is actually looking pretty good right now. So, may to stay on the Icelandic one. And then, I'm not sure if the ESA telescope one is turned on yet. I don't think it has. No, they're set to turn on in 7 minutes from Spain. They keep moving this thing around. It's fine. I'll keep adjusting it for you guys. That's pretty darn cool. The nice thing about the UK one, though, is that we get this nice, like, I'm sorry about this noise in the background. If I don't keep these windows open, it's gonna be too hot. Though I'll close things down if it becomes too noisy. But nice thing about this is we actually get some nice views of the plasma filaments on the sun right now. And some of the other features, sunspots, etc. We have a sunspot right there. What is that sunspot number? Let me look it up. We really have almost a completely empty sun right now in terms of sunspots. We have very little to worry about. We'll go to our synoptic map, and that one is 4508. 4508. This one is 4506, and there's a little disturbance right around here. That's 4507. But let's go back to Iceland. Oh, that's a cool view. From Bolafjall. Maybe that's how you pronounce it. But see, yeah, it's getting cloudy. And while we're still at this partial phase, let me show you something. Because they've been talking about this. We did have a solar storm impact come in yesterday. This is expected to come in today. It came in yesterday. It wasn't that strong. Nevertheless, and what does that word even mean? Nevertheless, we are seeing some good connection between the solar wind and Earth's magnetic field, such that there is a possibility that in these high latitude locations like Iceland, Greenland, that there's aurora happening right now. Of course, this is during the day, and aurora, these plasma ribbons, right, that travel in the upper atmosphere, they're very dim. You only see them at night because sunlight's so strong. But during a total solar eclipse, when you have 2 minutes of darkness, like this 1 minute of darkness, 2 minutes of darkness, whatever, there is a possibility of seeing perhaps some of the aurora, if there is some happening in the background, some aurora simultaneous with the total solar eclipse, and even potentially one of these little meteors coming in. So a really incredible shot that is possible, very unlikely but possible, is that we get someone taking a photo of the total solar eclipse from, let's say, like Greenland. It's clear skies. There's like a green and red tint from the aurora, and also like a fireball flies through. Like, that would be insane. We're crossing our fingers for something like that, because that'd be really, really rad. But yeah, we are having this solar storm impact right now, and that's something that some of these scientists who mobilize, there's never been a documented case of seeing the aurora during a total solar eclipse, as far as I know. That's what they've been talking about. So it's possible. It's possible we get it. Now here's the full live stream if I put back to normal size. What's happening here? Oh, clouds. Oh, so it's starting to get pretty cloudy, folks. Or maybe this is what it has actually been looking like. Oh, it's pretty cloudy. Okay, yeah, so it's pretty cloudy. Now here is what we see from the UK. So it's progressing. We're not going to get a total solar eclipse from the UK. And let's see what NASA's doing. So they're spending money to, you know, get someone up in a plane, and they're going to be trying to follow this eclipse for a while so they get a longer view of what's happening. And you know, Americans always need to just go a little above and beyond, for better, for worse. So, I'm so tired of winning. Who's tired of winning? Yeah, I'm so tired of winning. So they're going to be doing this. They're showing Totality in Iceland in 20 minutes. I'm not sure they're going to be showing us Totality from Iceland. I think they will be. We'll see. We'll get back to them. But I'd rather just focus on the eclipse that's occurring right now. Oh, and before we get back to that, we do now have the ESA telescope view up. So this is from Spain. So this is where the eclipse is going to end. So this will be our final live stream that we check from the ESA. We will get a total solar eclipse on this field with this live stream. Once the Icelandic eclipse is over and it's starting to go towards Spain, this is the one that we'll be watching. Maybe some views from the UK in between. But look at the difference, right? This is from Spain. This is from the UK. So UK being further north than Spain is already having a partial eclipse, whereas Spain at the very end of the eclipse path isn't showing anything yet. Though I think we may just start to be getting it right now. It looks the sun doesn't look perfectly circular. I don't know. We'll find out like a minute or two. But here it is from Iceland. Oh, here's people gathering to watch it. They'll cut back to it in a second, I'm sure. No, I said tired of winning, not waiting. Tired of winning. I'm so tired, boss. Let's listen in on what they're saying here.
Hann hann í notkun svo hann.
Það rúmar 17 mínútur í almyrkvan þarna. Svona spurning svona hvernig þetta gerist, hverju fólk finnur fyrst fyrir þegar þetta fer að...
Já, og hvenær þetta gerist, hvort það gerist akkurat bara þegar að sólin hverfur eða hvort þetta kom einhver áhrif í aðdragandanum.
Spurningin einmitt, til dæmis hvort það byrji að kólna þegar styttist í almyrkvan. Greta Sigríður á Látrabjargi er kannski best til þess fallin að svara þeirri spurningu.
Yeah, really quite cloudy right now in Iceland. That's one reason I didn't go. I wasn't feeling a super strong draw to go, even though the people running the event in Iceland, I met them over Zoom. They're really great people. They're running an event in Egypt. I'm definitely going to be going to Egypt for that one, even though it's going to be bloody hot. But I just wasn't feeling a draw to go, unfortunately. Just wasn't feeling it. You got to go with what you feel. But just moments away now from the greatest eclipse. So it's happening. Like it's. Let me rewind a little bit, okay? Let's go back to our UK eclipse, okay? This is what we're seeing from the UK. We're seeing it almost be a total solar eclipse right now for Iceland. for certain parts of the globe right now, along this eclipse path, it is already a total solar eclipse. So like, I think Greenland right now is already seeing it. They should be seeing it already. And maybe NASA is showing those clips. Doesn't look like it. It looks like they're still just chatting here. But it looks like they'll be showing some views from Iceland. I'm not sure if we're going to get views from Greenland. I was looking around everywhere for someone who could report on Greenland, and I couldn't find anything for Greenland. But it's already happening right now. So if you're someone who's connecting into this energetically, spiritually, whatever, it's already happening, okay? Just for different locations than the main ones that we're tracking. There we go. This is what we want to see. So it's very close for Iceland now, about 10 minutes. Yep. T minus 10. Yeah, guys, it's already happened. Stream is over. Goodbye. Done. It happened somewhere. It happened in the future. We're done. We don't need to do this. Everyone can go back to sleep. This is what they're still having to dim the exposure clearly on this camera, but this is showing just how cloudy it is. Because even with just a sliver of the sun like that, it's still very, very bright. All right. Just the light output from the sun is so high that's still very, very bright, even with just a sliver. But yeah, if you look up right now in Iceland and you get a clear view, that's what you'll see. And you'll get these crazy shadows that form too. So like all over the place. Let me pull up I'm sure you guys have seen this before, but let me pull up an image of what I'm talking about. It's like these, yeah, here's a good one. It's pretty cool. So this is what I'm talking about. So like this is during the very end phase of a partial eclipse, but these leaves are acting like little projectors broadcasting the light being created, the change in the light being created from the eclipse onto the ground surface. So this is going to be happening all across Iceland and Spain and elsewhere, which is really, really cool. It's happening, like that's already happening there right now. Not looking good for Iceland in terms of seeing totality in Iceland. You need all these clouds to get swept away. Now we're just going to quickly switch over to our ESA telescope. And that's the live view right now. We're still not seeing any partial eclipse from Spain. Because again, here's the UK. UK already has a pretty good partial eclipse. So Spain, nothing yet. But very close for Iceland. And I'm not sure what NASA is showing. Let's see what NASA is showing. They're still not showing it. Just a commentator. Oh, there's that sunspot. 4508. And you can see sunspots with these eclipse glasses. Like, let's say during solar maximum 2024, 2025, there's tons of sunspots on the sun, and you were to put these on and look up, you would with the clear sky, you would see the sunspots, which is pretty rad. If a sunspot's big enough, you can actually even see them when it's right on the horizon, because there's enough atmosphere to block out, too much of the glare, such that you can look at the sun when it's setting. Like right when it's setting, it's no problem. Unless that's why I'm kind of crazy. Anyway, so you can look at the sun when it's setting. Sometimes even if the sunspots are big enough, you can see them there. But you can definitely see the sunspots with eclipse glasses anytime if they are big enough, which is pretty cool. So thank you all for being here. All of us together watching this celestial event go down. Pretty cool. Seeing a total solar eclipse is really a once-in-a-lifetime event, though it doesn't have to be. There's people that chase these things and they go to them every single year. We get about a total solar eclipse about every 18 months. So we get this sort of alignment of every 18 months or so. Next total solar eclipse will be passing over North Africa, and specifically the greatest eclipse will be right around Luxor. The switching feeds, that's what this is. So that will be wild. That'll be like 6 minutes of totality, 6 minutes, 20 seconds over Luxor with the Valley of the King and Queens on August 2nd, 2027. There's a total solar eclipse that'll be passing over Australia in 2028. The plan is to throw a big event there for that. This channel, me, you, all of us in Australia, Sydney, probably in 2028. So there's people that go to them, they chase them. But in terms of, let's just say you're not going out of your way to see one, you'll probably see one in your life, just it happening to go through your area. Or you just having to do a little bit of a trip. But definitely something that you should go out of your way to see if you haven't seen one before. Let's see what NASA's saying or showing. Okay, so we're starting to get the partial eclipse from Leon. Let's see what the ESA is showing now. There it is. Yeah, okay, so our ESA telescope from Spain also showing a little bit of a partial eclipse now. This is the UK. It's really progressing quite a lot, though they won't reach totality like Iceland will. And that is where the party is right now. We are about to have our total solar eclipse over Iceland. The Western Fjords, Reykjavik, Grindavik, Blue Lagoon. Too bad that entire peninsula is closed down because of the volcanic activity. Imagine being in Blue Lagoon as the total solar eclipse goes overhead. I mean, that'd be so rad. I mean, it'd be sold out times a billion, but it'd be really, really rad. So we're getting very close now. I don't know if NASA's going to show anything. We're going to watch it just for a second to see if they say anything about Iceland. I don't think they're planning on showing anything from Iceland. But during totality, I'm going to play the singing bowl. Then we'll get back to commentary. This is a special moment for many people, so we are going to treat it as such. Anyways, I think we got the best view here from Iceland. We'll keep it here. Yep. Yeah, I'm not sure they're going to show anything from Iceland. I don't think they have the camera set up in the live feed or whatever, so we are going to stick with our Icelandic feed. Nikola Tesla is quoted as saying, "To understand the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration." And well, it's very true. Oh, what is up? Oh, that's so cool. Oh, this is so rad. Oh. Plasma. Wow, that is so rad. They're not showing anything. This is from their camera. That's the NASA Eclipse. They're not showing anything. Whoa. Oh no. Come back. Don't leave us. The sun has gone. And here it is. The moon's going this way, remember. So remember the plasma there. It's getting smaller and smaller as the moon's blocking it. We're seeing the corona, the plasma. And there it is. Ooh. Wow. And now the camera is adjusting its exposure again. And you can take these solar filters, you can put these sort of filters on your camera too. You can take them off during the total solar eclipse, but you'll have to put it back on the moment you start to get some of that sunlight again, or else it'll burn. See, they just put on the filter. So they just put that filter back on. Time for us to repent. The sun, please God. Okay, let's just quickly. So NASA's they're not showing anything from Iceland. Wow, that was rad. That was super cool. If anyone's from Iceland in the chat, please comment. Be great to hear what you just experienced. If you happen to just experience that, share your thoughts in the chat. I'll read it out. It got dark. like that's the view during the total solar eclipse for the peninsula there, where Blue Lagoon is. It's the southwestern peninsula. I think it's where John is, something like that. Now Woden descends from heaven, descends from above. So the total solar eclipse has ended for Iceland. Of course, we're still in a partial eclipse. Here's the path. So now the moon alignment is going down this way. It's going to be fairly, again, we're not getting a perfect total solar eclipse out of the UK. But this is our view of the UK right here. From the UK rather. And here is our view with the ESA telescope in Spain. So that's what we're seeing from Spain. That'll be our final one that we go to. But you can see the difference. UK is further along though. Again, of course, they're not going to go total ESA in Spain, and then we are already done here in Iceland. Totality has passed over that island, which is right now in a volcanic surge, and the eclipse path passing over the western part of Iceland actually perfectly passes over where there's been a tremendous amount of earthquake activity and volcanic buildup over the past year, past couple years in fact. So that's pretty crazy, if you ask me. Okay. So we've had the total solar eclipse pass over Iceland. Now it is continuing to move on from that perspective, but this total solar eclipse for the Earth is not over. We still have it passing over Spain. Of course, there's also some cruise ships that are going to be going along that total solar eclipse path. And I think there's even some airline flights that are going to be cutting through that. So there's going to be some lucky people on flights that are going to be catching that as it happens, which is really cool. But in terms of land mass, it's Greenland, basically Greenland, Iceland, Spain, and the islands there off the coast, like Mallorca. So now it's this journey going from here to there. It's going to be about an hour or so. And we have these different telescope views. Here we see the telescope view from the UK, and they are not going to be having a total solar eclipse, but a very, very close partial, which is why we're seeing this get so close. Like, it looks like it's going to overlap perfectly. It's not going to, but it's going to get very, very close. And then we see our ESA telescope here. We are going to get a total solar eclipse via this feed. And we'll see they'll put on, right now there's a filter on it, right? Just like these eclipse glasses. So they're going to take that off during totality, just like you should be wearing these during the partial phase. If you're, let's say, in North America or Europe and you're watching this yourself right now, you should have these glasses on. Earlier I gave you the hack. If you don't have the glasses, I'm not going to repeat it. But you put these glasses on. They will also put one of these over the camera, the lens. But then during totality, when the sun is perfectly blocked by the moon, then you take that off and you can look at it like normal, or you take these off and then look at it like normal. So that'll be happening for Spain, I think in about an hour. Maybe, yeah, about an hour. Maybe it's like an hour and a half. We got some time on this this live stream. But this is our view right now from the UK. And of course our view here from Iceland. The nice sounds of the ocean in the background. Commentary is over, but the views are still coming in. So once this becomes less than the other ones, then we'll switch over. Until then, I think this is a pretty cool view. And what's kind of interesting about this is that we see the crescent moon, right around new moon periods, we see the crescent moon. Well, you can also get this crescent sun during these sort of partial eclipses. So it looks like a moon because it's a crescent, it's bright, just like, the crescent moon will be bright too with its crescent, but it's the sun. So in this interim, let me go through the science again a little bit, all right? Because we have a little bit of time. So turn off that. Here we see the alignment that's occurring. This is a Sun, Moon, Earth alignment. And this happens twice a year when you have the moon align. The Sun, Moon, Earth alignment happens about every 28 days. But this specific sort of eclipse type alignment happens twice a year because you need the moon to align with the nodes, which is where the lunar orbit crosses the ecliptic plane that exists in between the sun and the earth. Imagine like a flat expanse, a flat plane connecting them. Well, the moon being inclined 5.15 degrees means that it only intersects that in its orbit twice. There's the far side and then the sunward side. So this is when you get a lunar eclipse and this is a solar eclipse. So you need all that to converge together. And then in addition to that, you need just trying to find the right, here it is. In addition to that, you need also the moon to be at its closest to the Earth, its perigee, for this to occur. for the total solar eclipse. You'll get an annular eclipse at its apogee. That's about 407,000 kilometers away from the Earth. Its perigee is 356,000 kilometers from the Earth. This is not to scale 10 to 1, as you can see, but there's about a 12% deviation in this, the lunar orbit. And so you need not only the moon to be at its nodal point or very close to it, you also need to be at its perigee, and you need to be a new moon in the first place. So that's what we have happening today. It's slicing over the Northern Atlantic and the Arctic Ocean, which is interesting area geologically. We're going to discuss some of the things there. But what I do find interesting about this geologically is that we're having huge earthquake and volcanic activity build up in Iceland as a result of new magma surge. And in the past 24 hours, we also had a magnitude 5.2 strike the big island of Hawaii at the, I want to make sure I say this right, at the Kamaehua Kanaloa Seamount. Kamaehua Kanaloa Seamount, which I'll show you right here. So our two big hotspots on this planet in these volcanic hotspot islands, Hawaii and Iceland, are seeing exceptional activity right now. Kilauea volcano, soon to erupt probably in about 2 days, having 52 lava fountain episodes in a little bit more than a year and a half, which is a historic rate and a historic number. It's smashing records. And now we're seeing the seamount here, which is connected into the hotspot. Again, Kamaehua Kanaloa Seamount. It is now rumbling with an earthquake swarm, which is due to some change in the magma plumbing system. This 5.2 being very notable for that. They say this seamount is inactive right now. It's dormant, but clearly it's not. It may start erupting soon. So Iceland and Hawaii, the two big volcanic centers, are active. And the interesting thing about Hawaii is that is exactly opposite Europe. So it's almost exactly opposite the path of this eclipse, which is interesting. Just it's more skewed to the southern hemisphere. But just in terms of longitude, Hawaii is almost exactly opposite the path of this eclipse. That's very interesting, if you ask me. So we will go back here to our live stream. Let's actually see what NASA's doing. Let's learn more about NASA's space weather program. Okay, well, see, it's more just, it's like one big advertisement with their live streams, I feel like. So we'll stick to this. Here's Iceland. Oh, we're going to switch over to the UK now. So REV, the news broadcasting group out of Iceland, thank you. It's been awesome. Really incredible. We'll do one last flashback to that moment of totality. Right here before we sign it off. But there it was, totality over Iceland just about 10-15 minutes ago. And now we're going to switch over to watching totality over the Iberian Peninsula with Spain. But that is what it looked like just moments ago over Iceland. And of course, it's already happened for Greenland, already happened for the Russian Arctic. Gravity is still here, folks. The 7 seconds at least hasn't happened yet. I'm not floating yet. You're not floating. Well, you could be floating. I don't know about you. I'm not floating. You could be floating. I'm not floating, that's for sure. Coffee doesn't make you float. But we are all still alive. This is a plasma, a body of plasma swirling in the outer corona of the sun. Not too far out in the corona, but swirling out there. And now let's get back to our UK feed. So here we are. And this is what we're going to finally finish with, which is our feed from the ESA, which is for Spain. So you can see how much further along it is for the UK because they're further north, but again, they're not getting a total solar eclipse. They're almost getting there. They're almost getting there, but here's our live feed from the UK. Very close. Very, very close. Now, someone asked why they can't see the plasma on the UK view. It's a good question. That's because we still have this solar filter over it, okay? Now, they actually have an advanced telescope. It's all built in. But you're only going to see the corona and the dim plasma as kind of on the very outer perimeter from our perspective of the sun when the moon is perfectly blocking it. So until that happens, even just a sliver of the sun is emitting too much light to then see these other more fainter features. So you need to keep these filters on until totality. So if you're out there yourself, some of you may be, though probably not too many of you because you're actually watching it yourself, but you may be watching, you know, in Spain, let's say, you may have these glasses, you may be watching it right now, but when the moon goes exactly in front of the sun and you have the total solar eclipse, that is when you can remove the glasses and look at the sun directly, see the corona, and be amazed. You know, it's going to get dark, it's going to get cold. Well, it may not get cold, but the temperature is going to drop. Animals are going to freak out, very likely, because they're like, what the heck is happening here? And so that is the deal. Now, we're only getting like I think it's like a 95 or 99% partial out of the UK. It's very close. It's the deepest eclipse that they've had in a long time, but it's not a total. That's reserved for Greenland, Iceland, Spain. But as you can see, we're getting very close here. It looks like it is going to. It's not going to. It's going to roll at the last second. So it's going to be almost nearly blocked, but then it's going to start to roll like this a little bit. So we won't get that total eclipse. It'll get very, very close. We will get total eclipse from Spain. That's why we have this telescope here view from the ESA that will continue to monitor here. So that will give us a really nice view of totality. And we also have this live stream from NASA, which they're really not even showing the darn thing. They will once it gets time. Looks like in 20 minutes, let's call it. Looks like in 20 minutes we'll get totality. But they're doing their programming. So, but that is the view right now from the Royal Observatory. Greenwich. Playing here is a solar plexus singing bowl. So it's supposed to be good for your solar plexus, your energy center, which is of course solar, right, connected into the sun. Someone just commented, Scavop said it's going dark in Ireland now. So it is going to get darker, but you won't have that total eclipse. Going dark in Ireland now. It's going to be the same for the UK. It is going to get dark. You're going to have those crazy shadows get cast, which I showed you guys earlier. I can show you again. Here are those example of those shadows. So you should get those on the ground. Leaves are a great projector of these shadows. So you can check that out. Did a few videos here in the UK. I'll tag you on X. Yeah, please do so, and I'll give that a look. Actually, I'll go to my X feed now and check that out. We'll put, again, our UK feed back on for everybody, but maybe we've gotten some tags in from others, which we can show those photos. And there's also, well, yeah, she hasn't posted anything. There's this girl who's doing this, I think a Greenland cruise, and she hasn't posted anything yet. So I was hoping she would post something right away. There's probably already some photos in just in general coming in about the eclipse from Iceland. Let's see what oh, this is pretty cool. Let's check this out. While we still got some time. That's getting very close. But yeah, let's check this out. This is pretty cool. I'm not sure where the peak is though for this. This is from a plane flight. Did they show it? I think it's still just partial for them. So this is happening right now, I think. Is this happening right now? It looks like this is live. So we'll open that up in a separate tab and go back to that. I'm not going to end the stream right when the eclipse is over. We'll do a little bit of rehash. Well, let me go back to what you guys want. I'll look for the stuff in the background. Here's a cool video of those shadows. So let me show you this. Okay, because you're wondering about those shadows. Here's an interesting video showing those shadows. So how rad is that? You only get that during eclipses. Super cool. And they say magic doesn't exist. They say magic doesn't exist, and magic is all fairy tales and nonsense. Not so sure about that. Here's our view from Spain. So Spain's getting closer. Spain is getting closer, minute by minute. So someone mentioned, did you see Bailey's beads? So let me explain what that is. This is kind of interesting. This is a animation where it's exaggerated so you can see it. I think it's in this one where it's exaggerated. But you'll see as it crosses, I'm not sure it's this one. It's not this one. Did I ever load in the other one? I might not have loaded in the other one. It's fine, I can do it right now. So this is the total solar eclipse, and we'll see what these Bailey's beads are. Let's just zoom forward a little bit. They exaggerated it greatly here, by the way. That's it right there. Those are the Bailey's beads. So see, right, how like there's like these little beads that kind of shoot towards the center. Yeah, greatly exaggerated, but that's what that is. So there's a whole bunch of cool things that happen during eclipses. You can see the solar corona. There's, relativity by Einstein. Mathematical and physical proof for that was collected via an eclipse because they wanted to see how light was bending as a result of the gravitational forces. So there's a lot that we've learned as a result of eclipses, and we'll continue to learn as more of them come in. With this eclipse specifically, there's a lot of scientists out there that are hoping that they'll catch aurora. So we'll find out about Iceland, but it looks like it was too cloudy. Greenland too, maybe they caught some, because there is some solar wind impacts happening right now. They're thinking maybe during that 1 to 2 minutes of totality, it'd be possible to even see aurora because it's dark now, or even a Perseid meteor coming in all of a sudden and lighting up in the darkness so you can see it. Because these meteors are coming in like crazy right now. We have a meteor stream right now that's hitting us, as you may recall. Just show you that really quick. Thanks to the Global Meteor Network, we see that our flux rate's at like 140 meters per hour. So there's a bunch coming in. They're tiny though. So unless it's a big fireball, daylight visible, you're not going to see it. But if it goes dark, that's about 2 a minute. So there's a chance that, one of these little Perseids flew right in front or nearby such that you could see it. So there's a lot of interesting things happening with this eclipse that people are hoping to catch and make those observations and document it, which is pretty cool. But we're getting very close here for Spain. Very close for Spain, which is really awesome. I'm not sure what they're doing. They're showing their view. This is the NASA live stream, but they keep switching over. So I'd rather just stick with our dedicated telescope stream here from Spain. Some of these comments are pretty funny. The moment is soon approaching. And here's the UK feed. So again, just them going back right now in time. See how it didn't fully cover it? It's just passing over it like this. Now I'm going to go forward in time again. So see how it's kind of going like that. But this is our live feed here from Spain, which is going to show us the total solar eclipse provided by the European Space Agency. Someone in Denmark is sharing how it's going dark there. Someone earlier shared how it's going dark in Ireland, the UK, a lot of the locations in Europe close to the path of totality are starting to darken as the light output from the sun is majorly blocked by the moon. These shadows that we've been talking about, they'll be visible. And Portugal, 95% right now. Still 15 minutes to maximum. We have some people streaming for Portugal as well. And don't worry about the 7 seconds of no gravity. Don't worry. By tomorrow, we'll all know that that was a farce. I mean, we already know it's a farce, but we'll be fine. Here in Spain, we feel the energy, according to Ruben. Thank you for your commentary and what you're feeling. It's getting dark in Barcelona. It's dark in Tuscany and quite orange. We're getting very close to totality in Spain now. We're just less than 15 minutes now. I think maybe they have a timer here. They don't have a timer on this feed. I'm just super zoomed in on the video for us. A nice temperature drop in Ireland, according to Fool of Hope 777. And Nacho Man Randy Sandwich is saying it was darker here a few minutes ago in the southwest of Ireland, but looks like it's already getting brighter. So again, as the alignment moves away from the north and to the south, right? Now it's starting to really be more focused over here. So we've gone through, there is a total solar eclipse happening right now somewhere along this path, more around like here, okay? We had it over Iceland, we had it all over here already. It's happening right now. But we will only see it if you're in that location, and we're getting these live streams from mostly Spain. I found the stream for Iceland and share that with you guys. But that's why it's now starting to brighten again in Ireland as the sun is now re-emerging more and more so from being partially blocked, mostly blocked. But Spain will get fully blocked, and it ends right at sunset, right over the horizon, Mallorca. So this is where we are right now. France is getting dark, according to Charlotte Miller. Jay sending his love from Scotland. The eclipse just cut my daylight short here in Finland. It just ended fully 2 minutes ago, and now it's still darker right at our sunset. Oh. Reminds me of that one town in Norway that lives in that valley that gets like basically zero sun every year. And they put these mirrors up to shine into the valley so they can live a normal life. But instead of living somewhere else, they still want to live there. You got to give it to them. We're getting very close to Spain. Let's check in on NASA, see what they're doing. Okay, so we got, because they're I think this telescope for NASA is further north. Yeah, so let's stay here. This is pretty cool. And totality in 1 minute and 36 seconds. So I'm going to be playing the sound bowl during this moment. I'll turn myself off because I don't need to be on the camera. But if you're wondering what the noise is, it's going to be this solar plexus sound bowl here, okay? Which specifically, supposedly helps with that solar energy in your body. And the one thing I'll say before we get into it is that consider the compass, right? The compass needle moves around a bunch because of the magnetic field, but you can't understand the compass just by looking at the compass and the needle, because it's the magnetic field of the Earth outside the compass which is influencing its movement. We are the same way as it relates to the sun and the Earth. You can't look just at us, our human self, to understand who we are, what we are. We need to also examine the effect of the external environment on us. So the sun does have an influence over us. And here we go. The total solar eclipse has reached Spain. There it is, folks. Wow. We have about 2 minutes of totality with this live stream provided by NASA. Just in general, that's how long we'll have. Wow. Switch their camera back now. Now that the total solar eclipse has come to an end, just now coming to an end. NASA switching their feed to observatories or telescopes they've set up further south so we can see this for longer as the path of totality sweeps over. But of course we also have our ESA telescope here, which we are in right now. Back to totality. And there we see the corona on all sides, that faint yellow, orangish glow. Here on this planet, in this universe, to liberate our creative potential from the chains of ignorance and distraction, to light up that solar energy center. Here we see the very end of this eclipse journey right now from Palma de Mallorca. Oh good, they switched, I think, just to the feed. So this total solar eclipse has come to an end. Though the partial eclipse will be lasting for another 60 to 90 minutes for these more southerly locations. I don't know how much longer these live streams will be going for, but the total solar eclipse of August 12th, 2026 is now over. We've done it. We've gone through it. Just happened. Really incredible stuff. Really quite an amazing treat. Mad thanks to the thousands of people which are working with these different organizations and groups to bring us these views of the eclipse. It's a lot of work. I was thinking about going to Iceland and or Spain to do it, and one of the reasons I didn't was simply because the logistics was going to be kind of nuts. I was also planning it last minute, but it's a lot of work. So mad thanks to, oh, probably it was difficult to hear me. Mad thanks to all those individuals who have worked to bring this to us across the world. Really incredible views that we've been receiving from Iceland and the UK and Spain. Nice big super thanks came in from Jen Z. Smith saying peace, love, and happiness to all. Thank you so much. God bless. Geraldine with a super thanks as well. There's been a ton of super thanks that have come in on this stream. I would have shown them if I was using my normal streaming platform. I don't have the ability to put them on the stream itself with the standard YouTube stream, but thank you to everyone who has contributed with a super thanks and more. One here from Blanca Martini saying, thank you for all you do, Stefan. Rising vibrations are amplified when we come together in harmony. Yes, it's awesome. So this has been such an incredible event. We're not signing off anytime soon. We got a bit more to go. But the total solar eclipse itself at this point is over. There's no more locations to keep switching to. Now we're just in the partial solar eclipse, part of this celestial alignment. Total solar eclipses happen about once every 18 months. It depends on a variety of factors. You need the moon to be a supermoon. You need it to be a new moon. You also need to be along the lunar node, right at the lunar node. So you get all that to align. It's about every 18 months. Next year, August 2nd, 2027, we will have the longest total solar eclipse of the 21st century, with totality happening, like the maximum totality happening basically right over Luxor in Egypt, the Valley of the King and Queens, and lasting about 6 minutes and 20 seconds. For reference on this eclipse, totality, if you're lucky, was 2 minutes. It was more like 90 seconds, 100 seconds, even less. So, yeah, we now have a meteor shower that is it's active right now. Meteor rates are already coming in at 140 plus per hour. So in Europe, the sun is setting, right? This is a sunset total solar eclipse for Spain. And now everyone in Europe will be able to look up and see a meteor storm happening, where you get little fireballs and little streaks of light every 2, 3, 5 a minute, depends on the local flux rate, but it's going to be, right now it's estimated to be about a little bit more than 2 a minute. And you may even see aurora. We are right now in a bit of a solar storm. It's a weak solar storm impact, but if you're far enough up, let's say like Sweden, Norway, Finland, Iceland, Greenland, parts of Russia, Siberia, etc., you could very well see aurora tonight as well. We also have a planetary parade that is active in the mornings. So for reference, we have the Perseids. They peak right before dawn. They really start to ramp up in their numbers tonight, but really going up towards dawn. And then right before dawn, we have this planetary parade with Jupiter, Mercury, Mars, Uranus, Saturn, and Neptune, all visible in the sky simultaneously. This is going to last for just about a week. Mercury is going to be zooming ahead of Jupiter pretty soon and doing a superior conjunction with the sun. So it will break this alignment. Of course, we'll still have Jupiter, Mars, Uranus, Saturn, and Neptune in a 5-planet alignment for quite some time. But in terms of having all 6 there in this planetary parade, that is happening. It happened this morning. It'll happen tomorrow morning, next morning, but it's only going to happen for another few days. So, looks like the ESA stream has come to an end. Let's see what NASA's doing. Looks like they're just recapping and talking. And let's see what the UK looks like. UK is still showing their partial eclipse here. So this is too bad ESA shut down their telescope feed without showing a lot of the partial going on afterwards. But this is still a nice feed here from the Royal Observatory out of the UK. Now, because we have a total solar eclipse right now, today, we will have a lunar eclipse at the end of August. And I really actually haven't looked into, it's a partial lunar eclipse on August 28th, 2026. Completely visible over North and South America, with the moon rising over the central Pacific Ocean and settling over Africa, Europe, and the Middle East. So we can even look at that map here. See what we got. This would be cool. Okay, so switch this over really quick. Here is our partial lunar eclipse coming up in 2 weeks now. So it's not, the moon is not going to pass directly into Earth's umbra, which is the deepest part of the shadow, right? It's almost getting there. So it's going to turn red, but not like that super dark blood red, because we're still going to get a little bit of sunlight, which is going to wash out some of the other colors because it's going to be so much brighter. This is August 28th, but you see there it rolls along, and then it moves out of the penumbra right there. And we can see how the magnitude is changing. See that magnitude number there? If it's negative, it's brighter. So see how it's negative and then it becomes positive? It doesn't change by that much, but it changes a bit. Here we can see the location that will see this partial lunar eclipse on the 28th. So we can watch this. So it's really going to be for the Americas. And then it starts to break at that point over the Pacific. So people in Europe and Africa will see some of this partial lunar eclipse, but really the Americas are in for the lunar eclipse more so than anyone, and then it starts to break as we start to get that to hit Hawaii and New Zealand. So that is what we have coming up in 2 weeks' time. But the thing to keep in mind, if you are watching this and you have a bit of a, a little bit of spirituality in your mix, right? You don't have to. Not everyone's the same, but this is you. Keep in mind that though the total solar eclipse is now past, in general, these eclipses energetically are very powerful over a longer time frame. So we're talking not just today or even just that 5 minutes, right? We're talking like 6 weeks, 6 months on either side. So it's already active right now at this point. So take these headphones off. Thank God. It's annoying wearing headphones and you sound different and everything. So, this is gonna be fun. Here's a sun card. Let's see maybe what we pull for this total solar eclipse. Let's just do a little bit of a tarot for fun. Why not? And I don't really have a good question yet. Think of one on the spot. Maybe you guys have some suggestions for the chat. Someone keeps spamming in there saying go to Sky News, but they're behind on their stream if they are. So we're up to date. This is where we are now. So the total solar eclipse has happened. I'm reading your guys' questions. I'm also thinking of questions. I just want it to be, I don't want to go overboard with anything. Here's the question. Take this for what it's worth, okay? Don't place everything in these. This is really just for fun. But let's ask the question of why the heck do we have such a crazy moon? It's so large compared to the size of the Earth. It has this perfect orbit where it is able to do these eclipses. It's just very anomalous. Like, why do we even have this thing? Like, what's the purpose of the moon? There's a lot of people, scientists, that think that life actually on this planet wouldn't be possible without the moon. So, like, what is the deep truth purpose of the moon for the Earth? Okay. Because the moon really shows itself the most with its power during a total solar eclipse. Really incredible. So I'll do a cut. This right there, and we'll pull 3 cards. Wheel of Fortune. Oh, the moon rules over fortune, folks. This is seen as a lunar principle. Fortune is a lunar principle. Wheel of Fortune. Ace of Wands, which is like new beginnings and changes. It's more of a fiery energy too. Okay. And the 3 of Wands. Oh, whoa. New beginnings. Looking over the Earth. So we have the Wheel of Fortune, which is good luck, karma, life cycles, destiny, turning point, change, inevitable fate, ups and downs, and unpredictable. Of course, the moon controls tides, the up and downs. I mean, this is so fitting to get the Wheel of Fortune there. Next is Ace of Wands, new project, inspiration, urge to create, willpower, desire, willpower, desire, power, potential beginnings, new opportunities, and growth. And fire, wands are related to fire, and fire is the agent of creation. So before, Wright was asked, as I was asking that question, I was talking about how some people think that the moon itself may be responsible for or help make life possible on this planet. That's pretty interesting. And then the Three of Wands here, which is preparation, progress, foresight, enterprise, expansions, and oversee opportunities. And actually, this is the Three of Wands. So triplicity, expression, expansion of idea, growth, first stages of completion. So 3, you have the sun, the moon, and the earth. It's pretty interesting. Again, both fire, both related to creation. And then fortune, creation and fortune. Seems that without the moon, our Earth would be quite a different place. I mean, we already know that scientifically. But without the moon, our planet would be very, very different, and we may not be in such a fortunate position. This is also the card of Jupiter, as you can see. It's a little Jupiter connection there. So, pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. Let's go back to some of our other live streams, see what's happening. NASA is over. ESA is over. So we're just left here with the Royal Observatory showing the partial eclipse. It's coming to an end as well, but it's still going, still live. But the sun is setting, which is why this is getting darker and darker, right? The sun is setting. So some point very soon, actually, this is going to cut off completely because the sun's going to set below the horizon. So I think this is a good time to end it. Thank you all so much, everyone, for joining in today on this amazing live stream, viewing this amazing celestial event that occurred in the Arctic Ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, Greenland, Iceland, Spain, viewable as a partial solar eclipse from much of North America and Europe, Africa as well, the Atlantic in general. I will be back with more updates. I've been your host, Stefan Burns, geologist, geophysicist, space weather guy, your cosmic bro, here to help you understand what's happening here energetically on the planet. So we discuss what's happening in terms of earthquakes, volcanoes, severe weather, geomagnetic storms. We look then, of course, beyond just the Earth, because in order to understand what's happening here, we need to go beyond. So we discuss solar activity, space weather, solar storm impacts. We look at planetary alignments, planetary resonances, planetary parades, interstellar and cosmic forces, consciousness, and so much more. I release videos almost daily, so if you'd like to stay up to date, then please subscribe. I examine the science, the facts, the data, and then we also just expand a little bit beyond those conventions. So it's good to have an open mind and to have a little bit of joy in your heart and to have some fun. So thank you all so much. Please smash that thumbs up button to help the channel grow. Thank you to everyone who has donated a super thanks for this stream. That is awesome. And I'm sending you all my wishes and my love. So love and light to you all. Namaste. And I'll see you all in the next video.